Sup boys, Ludo here, and finally, Sub-Rogue PvP guide. So, pretty certain I figured out Sub-Rogue. I'm not a rank 1 rogue, I'm just elite, but I've been playing some shuffle rounds, and I think in only 4 or 5 lobbies, we broke 1.8, literally with full blue gear, literally full blue, except it was a purple cloak, nothing else. So yeah, now I'm trying to figure out assassination. We'll do that next. So if you have any juicy tricks for that, let me know. Now, first things first, basics, race. What are we doing on the Sub-Rogue, guys? Well, we have two very good options. Is it gonna be Night Elf for Alliance, and it's gonna be Orc for Horde. Okay, Night Elf, why? Because of Shadow Melt, right? We can Shadow Melt into Cheap Shot. Our subterfuge, right? So that's why Shadow Melt is goated for the Rogue. But this season Rogue is so popular that Orc is the best right now. Why? Because of the stun reduction passive, which actually counters the other rogues. So in a Rogue versus Rogue matchup, you have advantage as Orc, right? Plus you have a very nice Blood Fury buff on your Shadow Blades burst, right? So that's very nice too. So, usually Night Elf is the best, but in Rogue versus Rogue matchup, Orc is the best. Okay, so take from that what you will. The third best option we could say is like a human. It's also pretty useful. We get some secondary stats bonus, very nice. Plus we get the stun removal, also very nice. So those would be my top 3 choices if I had to choose. Now. Stats. Now this is where it gets very tricky, and let's try to explain it as much as I can. Okay, so we have 2 builds on the Sub-Rogue. Okay, Mastery and the Haste build. So, and this is because of this, right? Deepening Shadows. Shadow Dance duration is increased by your Haste. Okay, our Shadow Dance is baseline 6 seconds, right? So the point of the Haste is, if we increase the Haste, we increase the duration of Shadow Dance, which makes us be able to put in more abilities in the Shadow Dance. And as we know, Sub-Rogue does pump in Shadow Dance. Like outside of Shadow Dance, it doesn't do that much, right? Damage. Because Backstab is kinda useless, Shadow Strike is super strong, and, well, we want to increase the duration. That's the point of the Haste. Now, which build is better? Is it the Haste or is it the Mastery build? It's playstyle dependent, okay? They're both very good. If you look on the top of the ladder, you will see both Haste build and Mastery build. It just depends who enjoys what more, okay? So they are both completely viable to reach whatever rank you want, okay? So you'll have to try them both and see which one you like more. Okay, I'll be running the Mastery build because, well, it's just so much work recrafting to get that full Haste build, okay? And now let's get into it. So, let's start with the Mastery build. Mastery build, as you can see, I have 0 Haste now. So, for Mastery build, we'll be going Verse, Mastery, Haste. We need some Haste, baseline, you'll see how much. To get to that point where we can fit in 1 extra ability, right? So this is with 0 Haste. It says 6 seconds, okay? Now, we want to get to 200 points of Haste for the Mastery build, and then everything else is to Mastery and Verse, okay? So 200 points will be around 7.6% Haste, something like that. You know, if you go a little bit over it, no big deal. So let's see how do we get there. So we want to run a tier set, obviously, right? So let's put 2 pieces of tier set. This is gonna be enough to increase it to 6.2 seconds. Okay. Now 6.2 seconds. Theoretically, it's possible to fit in 1 extra ability, right? But that's just gonna work for the best of the best rogues, and if the targets are, you know, standing in place doing nothing. So what I would recommend is at least go to 6.4 or seconds of Shadow Dance increased duration, okay? And how do I get there to that? It's just with the trinket. Now everything else, we could go into mastery, okay? So we have around 200 points, as I said, 7.5% haste, and it says 6.4 seconds. We can comfortably put one extra ability in. Now, everything else here is haste as well, because that's how the gear is right now. But if I was to min-max the gear, I would put everything into mastery right now. Everything, right? So this is completely fine. We're around 200 haste points, around 7.5 haste, 7.5 to, I don't know, 7.6, 7.7, completely fine. You know, don't overthink it. But this is, you know, the perfect, ideal haste point for mastery build. Now everything else we go into mastery inverse, right? I'm kind of low on mastery, but that will change, okay? So that will be the mastery build. Now for the haste build, we'll be going even higher haste, right? With these, it's not enough. It's like, it increases only to 6.6. So for the haste build, we want to go to at least 18% haste. This is going to give us another 2 abilities, right? To fit in Shadow Dance. This the master build gives us 1, the haste build is going to give us 2. And that's going to, well, 1 extra Shadow Strike, right? Or 1 extra Eviscerate. So that's the point of the haste build. So around 18%, you will see it's gonna, you know, you will see the increased duration of Shadow Dance. Now there are some crazy builds that go full haste. I think that's more PvE, which go like 1.2 to 1.4k haste points. But I think those are only for PvE, honestly. I wouldn't be doing that. So master build, in my opinion, as I said, 7.5 to 7.67% haste, and haste build around 18%, okay? And that PvE build, I guess, is, you know, haste cap build. So those will be the stats, okay? Now for the embellishment, I recommend Arcana Weave Insight. It's, I think, the best. Now, if you're short on gold, you can definitely go with Devouring Banding. You know, it's completely fine. It's not gonna be a big difference. Okay? Because this one is like 10 times more expensive. Now for the enchants on the heads, we'll be definitely running speed on head, on the helm, on the boots. Okay? On the legs and on the chest, we'll be running the primary stat, agility, right? And for the weapons, we are either going with the agility, okay, I'm running agility here, or we can go even with the mastery one. Just depends how far we are on our, you know, if you're nearing the cap, I would suggest agility. If you're far off from the mastery, like I am, I could definitely go with the mastery enchants on the weapons, okay? Okay, now for the gems, we obviously want to go with Enduring Heliotrope, right? And for the other gems, we'll just be going either Versatility plus Mastery or Mastery plus Versatility. Just depends how squishy, or, you know, depends what bracket you are. If you're going, the higher you go, the more verse you need, okay? The lower you are, you don't need that much verse, okay? So if I was low rated right now, I would go Mastery plus Verse. If I was trying to push Elite right now, I would go Verse plus Mastery, like this gem, okay? Same for the Ring Enchants, either Verse or Mastery, right? Or you can always put a Haste on the rings if you're just missing a little bit of Haste, right? You can always do that, same for rings. If you're just missing, oh, I'm missing maybe 0.1 second, you can always put that with Haste, right? Now for the tier set, we're definitely going to run 2 set. Now for the 4 set, it's looking good, but right now I won't be running it. I know many guys are running it, but I don't think it's necessary. Yes, it's definitely good, but since I'm gonna play all 3 specializations, I'm not gonna run it right now. But once the Conquest uncaps, I'll be running the 4 set. Okay? And I think we covered everything for the gear. So, hero talents. What are we running? Trickster or Deathstalker? 100%, million% of the time, we will be running Trickster. It's just way better at the moment for Sub Rogue. Just does everything better in all the content. Everyone's playing Trickster, you won't find anyone playing Deathstalker. Now, the problem with Deathstalker is Deathstalker mark has been changed since last season. When we were all playing it in Assassination Rogue and stuff like that. What's changed is the death mark kinda sticks to one target, you know? Which means you need to tunnel one target until you at least use up all those marks. So that's kind of a problem, because that contradicts the rogue playstyle, right? You wanna move around, CC, change targets, right? So that's a big problem with Deathstalker. Now, it could be viable, maybe in a 1v1. You can try it out. So we'll just go quickly through that build. But overall, Trickster will be the play pretty much everywhere. Okay, just better overall. So first, we'll go through the left tree, then the right tree, mid tree, PvP talents, and we'll finish up with the Deathstalker. Let's get going. Okay, I removed a few, let's call them optional points. Everything else is kind of set in stone. They're all so good. And let's break it down and see what's good, what's optional, and what situation. So, all of these are so good, we don't even have to think much, right? We're just gonna pick them. Now we have a first option here, Shiv. Very useful, but I'm personally not running it. Now, we have to kind of commit, I mean, we don't have to, but it's nice if you're gonna commit 2 points. It's really good, for example, against Fury. It's gonna remove his enrage. It slows a lot. It's pretty good. So in that case, if someone is, you know, trying to kite you, Shiv is very juicy and helps it nicely. And well, this talent just improves it a little bit. So if I was running Shiv, I would just commit 2 points, you know. Now here, all of these are super good, right? Here's the first choice. So elusiveness is super good, right? Now, the point is, if we're running elusiveness, we're just gonna commit a lot of points to feint, okay? This point, boom. And we're gonna take this PvP talent as well, right? So, if we're running this, we're gonna go with this and this and this at the same time, right? If you're not gonna run with this, let's say, we'll just pick some random, we don't need to go with feint additional charge. We can go with the cheat death then. Okay? But I would definitely recommend this because it's so good. Okay? But if you really want to go with cheat death, you don't want to be bothered with feint, this is what you can do. Okay? Now, second thing we can do here is, instead of blackjack, if you're playing a coordinated team, this is probably not the best for shuffle. This is pretty much for 3v3, or if you're playing with teammates, 2v2 double DPS. You'll be running Tricks of Trade, and let's imagine instead of Disarm, we're going to be running, where is it? Thick as Thieves, right? Increasing your friendly damage by 50%. That's a lot, right? So, that's our second option, okay? Now, Wound Poison, very nice. You know, it's okay, nothing crazy, but this is pretty useful actually, okay? Just depends what bracket you're playing. If you have a healer with you, it's not a big deal, but if you're playing in like a 1v1, Battlegrounds, whatever, open world, this is pretty nice, Iron Stomach. I usually don't go this though, okay? Now, next, Sprint, very nice, 60 seconds reduced, plus this, it makes you run super quickly. So I usually go this is just mobility, but you know, if you think about it, it's optional, but it's very nice, it's very nice. Now this, it's useless. This, honestly, I was running this, I was just checking my talents and boom, I'm running this, and this doesn't do much on a sub rogue, right? This doesn't do much, so you're probably not going to run this, except if you're not running feint cooldowns, yeah, feint talents. Then to unlock this, we need to go here, right? So if you're gonna go with the cheat death, you're gonna go with this as well, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Now I really like to run this. Just, you know, movement speed reduction, very powerful, so I really like to run this always. Okay, I usually always pick this. Then again, we have Unbreakable Stride. We have so many slows in the game that this just comes in handy very nicely, right? It's just so good. So like everyone has super strong slows, so this comes pretty good. Now everything here, as you can see, there are no-brainers. They're so good, you need to pick them, right? Same as this. Yeah, usually our Shadow Strike backstab wasn't doing damage, but this season specifically Shadow Strike is pumping, so we definitely want to increase its damage. Okay, so we have one extra point. Where are we gonna put it? So we can put it here. We can put it in Shiv, right? We can put it even here. Or I don't know, you don't want this. Boom, we got stronger Shiv, right? You want this. All the good stuff. It's just up to you, okay? I'm gonna leave it like this because we're using Feint. I'm just gonna reduce its energy cost. This will be my left tree. Now for the right tree, we don't have many options. We pretty much have only one node that we're gonna be changing around, and that's gonna be this. Everything else you see here is pretty much set in stone. Now I was experimenting a little bit with this instead of this, but I found out in the end that this is just a DPS boost. You know, yeah, this will do more surprising, bigger hit, right? But it's not that much. I think this helps do more DPS, okay? So I'm running with this. Now for this point, everyone is going Weapon Master, okay? I've been experimenting with 3 different talents, and that's Weapon Master, that's this one, and this one, okay? Mostly I've been running this one, but it's not that great. So I'm currently trying this one out. Okay, I'm trying this one out currently. Weapon Master, I think, is also very good. As I said, like 90% of the rogues are running this, but I think all of them are okay. So it's not gonna be a big difference, let's be real. This one is gonna do more damage if, you know, RNG is on your side. If the RNG is not on your side, this one is gonna do more damage. As simple as that, right? So I'm just trying this out now. If I don't like it, I'll just gonna go back to Weapon Master. Everything else, guys, pretty much set in stone, and I wouldn't change a thing, okay? Here, I think it's very obvious that all of these are best, except, yeah, pretty much all of them. Like, you don't change a thing here, right? So, that's locked in as well. Now for PvP talents, we'll always be running Smoke Bomb, right? Smoke Bomb is so good that we'll always be running it, so we don't need to talk about it much. Now, Preemptive Maneuver, as again, we'll be running if we're running all the Feint talents, right? If not, then we can change it for something else. Boom. Thick as Thieves, in my opinion, second best option. Really good. But if we are not even running that, boom, then we run Disarm. Okay, Disarm very powerful, but if you don't need Disarm, what are we then running, right? So in that case, Death from Above is pretty solid, you know? It just gives you a ranged ability. Like, if you get, I don't know, you're playing against a lock, a mage, a hunter, you're out of shadow steps because you're shadow stepping around, CCing healer, doing that, right? So boom, just a way to close the distance, right? So in that case, Death from Above comes in handy, right? Everything else is not that great, okay? So I don't think I would recommend any of the other ones. Yeah, this can be actually useful, but in Arena, no, right? This can be useful in a BG, in a 1v1, right? All of the other ones, they're not that great, right? This is just so, like, it's weak. Everything else is just weak. So Dagger in the Dark can be fun for bigger one-shots. In a, you know, you're memeing, you're trying to kill someone, you're doing world PvP. But outside of that, those would be the ones I think are the best. For the Deathstalker, honestly, I wouldn't change a thing almost, neither in the left tree or in the right tree. I mean, it's pretty much everything we talked about. Few things knows that we can change around, like Weapon Master, right? For the mid tree, we have here node that's, you know, interchangeable, let's say. Obviously, this one you will always take against melee. Now, this one could be better than this in situation where there is maybe in a 2v2 or in a 1v1 where there is a caster that cloak is really useful against. Okay, because this again is good against caster because evasion reduces by 15%. Now 15% is not a big number. Okay, so in this, only in that case, I don't know, playing maybe like a affliction lock, something like that, like it's really good cloak against, right? So in that case, I think this could be better. Okay, now here we have an interesting choice actually, which I'm honestly unsure which is better. This one is probably better in general, but this could be good if you think about it. Okay, you're gonna dance and Shadow Blade at the first burst, but you have this for 30 seconds. So your next Shadow Dance is gonna be juicy as well, right? So in your second burst attempt, this could overtake this talent. But outside of that, this one will be better in general, right? So this one could be better in again, maybe a 1 minute fight, right? Where you, after Shadow Blades, you want to burst again and do finish off the target, right? Maybe in a duel. Okay. So how do we actually do damage on the rogue and how do we play it? Well, it's going to be a little bit different than every other classic card. For the rogue, we're just building and spending our combo points. We'll have the priority for combos point builders and for spenders. Now, you should be more focused on controlling the game and, you know, getting CC and setting up the kill than actually, you know, trying to maximize your DPS. But let's cover the best way to DPS, right? So first, let's do the builders. So the top priority of the builders will be, well, chip shot if no one is stunned, everyone is off DR. The second, which is gonna do damage, is gonna be Shadow Strike. This is our most damaging combo builder, right? And it also applies phased, right? After that, we have the Shuriken Storm. Okay, Shuriken Storm builds more combo points because there's multiple targets, right? Than the backstab, for example. Okay, makes sense. So it's gonna be chip shot if, you know, you can and it's good. Shadow Strike, Shuriken Storm, and then lastly backstab. Now for the combo spenders, of course, kidney shot at the top if we want to kill the target, or we want to cross CC the healer and the kill target. Then second, the best will be to click coup de grace, right? That's like a big eviscerate. That's gonna do the most damage. Okay. Then we have the secret technique, and then lastly we have eviscerate. Okay, so in that order, they're the most important buttons to click. Now, of course, we want to combine Shadow Blades with the Shadow Dance, right? And we have to remember that we have Subterfuge, right? So if you want to open with the... So we're talking about the opener now. We can open with the chip shot, or we can open with the Shadow Strike. If we open on the chip shot on the kill target, sorry, on the healer, we can Shadow Step, Shadow Strike to apply the debuff on the enemy, and then into the kidney shot, right? So something like this. Boom, we Shadow Step this guy into kidney shot, and then we do our normal rotation, right? Our bursts. So those with the different, like there's a million variations of how things can play out. But I just told you, you know, what's best in what order to click, okay? It's really kind of impossible to say, hey, you need to do this and then this, then this, then this on the rogue, because every situation is different. Every situation requires something else, okay? Yeah, let's do an example of what we talked about on a player, right? So It's gonna be naughty, but let's do it. And boom, he's dead. I mean, okay, let's use another charge of Shadow Dance. Honestly, I wanted to kill him in one Shadow Dance, but he wanted me to use it twice. Look, is pretty damn tanky. But yeah, there we go. Okay, CC, utility, defense. What do we have? So, as we know, Rogue is packed with CC, and we want to use it as much as we can off the R, right? So, first things first, stuns, kidney shot, right? Depends on our combo points. So, we want to be pretty much using kidney shot whenever we want to Shadow Dance, whenever we want to burst. We want to be careful that we're not DRing our kidney shot, okay? Then we have the cheap shot. We can use it in stealth. We can use it in Shadow Dance, right? So we want to sometimes multi-chip shot. We want to, chip shot both DPS, right? Cross CC with the healer stun. So that's how we are using our stuns, okay? Now the blind is off GCD, which is very nice to know as well. And, we can always prolong the CC chain with a blind. Now for the gouge, a little bit tricky to use. You have to be in front of the target. Okay, so sometimes it's tricky to use, but it's very useful ability. Okay, I personally am not utilizing it as much as I can, but it's very, very useful. Now, what else do we have? We have the Shiv, we talked about it. It's a very strong slow. Okay. Now, for the utility, we have Disarm. We know how to use it. We use it against another rogue. We use it against warrior, right? What else do we have? We have the Tricks of Trade. We talked about it. We're increasing our teammates' damage, right? Very useful. And it's a kind of short cooldown, right? We have the Smoke Bomb. We usually want to pair the Smoke Bomb with the CC chain, with a kidney, with a cheap shot, right? But we can use Smoke Bomb defensively as well. Okay. We're playing against Hunter. He's in True Shot. We are low HP. It's probably not gonna be the best, but if it's the only way we can survive, boom, we can Smoke Bomb. He can't target us, right? Or we can even leave the enemy healer in the Smoke Bomb. So, those are very, very good things you can do as a rogue. We have the sprint, very simple, just increases your speed by a lot. Now for defenses, let's start with the most interesting one, Feint, right? Decreases your damage by 20%. It's on only 15-second cooldown, right? 2 charges, very, very strong. Personally, I'm not as utilizing it as much as I should, but it's so powerful, especially if you feint before the stun, because of this, right? It's very, very, very good as well off GCD. Right? Then we have the evasion, dodge chance. So how this works is you can dodge in front, but if person hits you from behind, it's not gonna work. Okay, so you have to be in front of the target for the dodge to work. And then we have the cloak, very simple, just removes, every debuff, magical debuff. You can be hit by magical spells. It's very nice, it's very strong. Okay, and for the last, we have the vanish. We can like break root, slows, all the good stuff with that, and nothing will break the stealth for at least 3 seconds while we are in vanish. Okay, so but we are usually using vanish offensively rather than defensively, but if you have no other option, we can always vanish, right? Now, if you're playing Night Elf, you have another Shadow Meld, right? So you can use that again defensively and offensively. So don't forget that if you're using Night Elf, of course. So for the macros, what we have is Shadow Blaze with the unused trinket, if we are using that. I mean, 14 means like the trinket is on spot 14. If you have it here, it's going to be use 13, or you can even type the full name, so don't overthink it. Okay, that's one. Now everything else is pretty much 1 to 3 macros. I have Shadow Step 1 to 3, I have Sap 1 to 3, Kidney Shot 1 to 3, Gouge 1 to 3, Chip Shot 1 to 3, Blind 1 to 3, Disarm 1 to 3, if I had any more keybinds, and I don't, I would maybe even have Shadow Step, Kick 1 to 3, stuff like that. That's pretty much all I use on Rogue. Plus Arena 1 to 3 targets, I've just started using those. That's pretty much it for the macros. Now, for the add-ons, I have full 20-minute UI guide for all my add-ons and my profiles, as well as the import links for my profiles on my Discord server. So, you know, if you want to see that, check that out as well. And let's get going. Shuffle, 2s, 3s, and Blitz. How's Sub-Rogue looking? So, Sub-Rogue is a menace in all brackets. In Shuffle, it's definitely S tier. It's one of the best, if not the best, spec right now. You can control the game. You can. You're a playmaker and you're a damage dealer at the same time. Like usually, Sub-Rogue was just a playmaker. It wasn't doing that much damage. Now it's doing so much damage, right? On a short cooldown. Like Shadow Dance is really low cooldown and it's pretty long. So yeah, it's really good. Okay, definitely S tier. Now in 2s, it was never this strong, I think. I mean, it was, but usually Sub-Rogue is not this strong in 2s because you had some tough matchups. Like in the past, at least, you would have like a warrior would easily just pressure you. But now, since you kind of do almost the same damage as a warrior, you're literally the best spec in 2v2. The hardest matchup for you is another Sub-Rogue, okay? Everything else, you should be winning. Except if, you know, the other player is better. So, on even ground, you should be winning most 2v2. Of course, healer is a, you know, very important here as well. So you want to be playing like with the best healers possible. Like Mistweaver, currently the best healer, right? So that would be probably the best option. Press Evoker is aggressive healer, which can help you move around, can help you DPS. So Press Evoker is always good. And of course, Priest. Priest is always good with the Rogue. That has been since forever. And you know, it's always gonna stay that way. Priest and Rogue, very good. Now for 3v3, this season Rogue can play with anything. You can literally play with anything. Any class in the game. Now the best will always be RMP, which is Rogue Mage Priest. Okay, so it doesn't matter which mage. Usually it's gonna be either fire or it's gonna be frost. Okay, they're both very good. That's gonna be your best comp. Now, Deathstalker Lock, Affliction Lock, also very good comp. Okay, in my opinion, that could be the second best. Now for the third best, anything. You can play with anything. Anything that's good right now. So just check, you know, what's S tier class? Boom, just play with it. What's A tier class? Boom, play with it. Anything. You really don't want to play with like a C tier class, right? Or B. But you can, because it's so good right now. Now, in the Blitz, again, the best, if not, you know, one of the best, if not the best, specs in Blitz. It can control the map, it can one-shot the flag, it can move around the map so quickly, undetectably. You can ninja cap easily. You can 1v1 anyone if you have your cooldowns, right? So it's just S tier. It's really good. Now, let's get into strength and difficulty. Okay, so the document from last year when I was pushing every single class to elite and I was rating, you know, all classes how strong and difficult they are. And now this is for this season that I've pushed. So Subtlety is 14th. Strength 0 the weakest, 10 the strongest, difficulty 0 the easiest, 10 the hardest. Okay, so let's start with the strength of Trickster. Now I would almost give it a 10. I think it's 9.5. It could have been 10 before all those nerfs, but it's still so strong. It's really strong. It's one of the strongest right now. So I'm definitely going to give it 9.5. Okay, it did get nerfed, so you know, a little bit. So I'm just going to drop it from 10 to 9.5. Okay, Deathstalker, It's just not it. Let's be real. It's just not it. But it's still a sub-rogue, so I'm just gonna give it a 7. Okay? Now difficulty... but this one is tough to rate, okay? We're talking now about the skill floor rather than the skill cap. Because I don't think there was ever a time where sub-rogue was easier to get into. Okay? I think this is the easiest time to play sub-rogue in, I don't know, since ever. So I'm definitely gonna give it 6 out of 10. Okay? Just because it's a rogue. Just because it's a rogue. Overall, I don't think rogue can go below 6 out of 10. And this is the lowest it can go. Okay? Yes, it has a very high skill cap, it's a rogue, but it's so easy to get into right now. I think anyone who, you know, wants to try rogue out, now is the perfect time. Because I don't think it will get easier than this. And in my opinion, like, Assassination was always the easiest rogue, right? Sub was always, you know, higher skill cap, you can do so many things with it, and Outlaw was even tougher, because he did no damage compared to sub-rogue, at least could kill something. Now the tables have turned because Subtlety is doing the most damage, it got simplified the most, it has the least buttons, and in my opinion Subtlety is the easiest out of 3 specs right now. Okay, so sub will be 6 out of 10. Now to get to elite, I'm gonna again give it a 6 out of 10. If you look at the ladder, everyone who is elite right now, so many rogues, right? So many rogues. You're just gonna get 6 because, well, it's a rogue. Okay, so if you don't have mechanical, you know, possibility to achieve it with rogue, you won't, because, well, you need some mechanics. You need to be at least good mechanical player to succeed with rogue, right? You can't be a bad mechanical player and succeed with rogue. That's the problem with rogue, right? If you don't need to be godlike this season, you can be just good, okay? So that's why I'm gonna leave it at 6 everywhere, across the board. It's gonna be easier than some weaker classes. It's getting 6 because it's strong and it got way easier, okay? Okay guys, hopefully you enjoyed, hopefully it helped. I'm just gonna post a BG, nothing special. Since I didn't film any of those arenas, I was just playing it in the morning, you know, just to try it out, because I wanted to stream it tonight, but I mean, it was so quick, I got to 1.8 that, you know, I was not expecting it, honestly, especially with the low gear. I'm just gonna throw a BG and, you know, so you have some gameplay. Okay. Tonight we'll be doing some Assassination, some Outlaw. Now that's gonna be way tougher. But, you know, stay tuned for that. Okay, let's get going. Let's see how this BG is. We're playing Capture the Flag, so we'll be trying to kill the flag. Or we'll be trying to defend our flag carrier. But we have pretty good defenders, like Mage. Mage is a really good defender. If it's Frost, what do we have? It's a Frost Mage. So, one of the best flag carriers, Mistweaver. So that's gonna be good. Now my add-on for enemies is not working for some reason, of course. It is what it is. So I have no idea who's gonna be... Who's the healer here? Ugh, this is horrible. Hoping this is the... No, this is a... There we go. Let's kill this mage. So this is the healer, okay. Do we want to waste Shadow Dance on this guy? No, I don't think so. He's gonna backstab him. Backstab, backstab, come on. Boom, finally. Backstab does 0 damage, 0. Okay, we are bored, okay. Who had the flag? Are we horde? No, we are allies. How is this guy killing everyone? Oh my god. Well, problem. No. I die here. Oh. Okay. Ooh, what was this? I thought I'm gonna get DC'd. Okay, we need to wait this rend out, otherwise I'm gonna die. You just love to see it. Okay, let's go with our Mistweaver to secure that victory, right? 1-0 is not enough. 1-0 is not enough for the win. 2-0 though. 2-0 is definitely enough for the win. I'm gonna put this guy on focus. We can find him later. Oof. He went this way? Okay. Oh, we need to get rid of this mage first. Ah, come. Okay. Is he out? He is. He's upstairs already. Do we have a healer here? We do. But this seems like a lost fight. So we should leave here. Definitely leave. Just wanna get a Zerker. And we're going back in, of course. We're going for the boom this time. Let's get the healer. Looks like not enough. Too many of them, 2 healers, very hard to kill anyone, right? Can't do much here. Better go with the Mistweaver to secure the win. Come on, mount me up, come on. Can I mean, I can vanish, but do I really want to? Let's do it. No. Is he off DR? I don't know. Probably. There we go. Yo, that Ray of Frost. It's crazy. It's crazy. This was like half a second cast. And deleted half of my HP.